Now let's welcome our esteemed panelists. They're all excitedly waiting on the sidelines. Let's start off with Yanal Jallad, the Managing Director of Reboot Coding Institute. Bruno Martins, Associate Partner, IT Advisory, Technology Consultant, KPMG. Mohamed Mahroos, Partner of PwC. And last but not least, very proud to introduce Latifa Mohamed, the General Manager of Hope Talent. And of course, guiding us through this discussion is our moderator. Are you ready for her? She's lovely. She is Buhejji, just like her name. Dalal Buhejji, Executive Director, Business Development, Financial Services, Bahrain, EDB.
Everyone for joining us today, and good morning to my panelists. This is a very interesting panel talking about tech talent and talking about talent and upskilling talent in the region and globally. Obviously, we've seen the changes when it comes to the need of certain talent to be able to grow organizations in Bahrain. This panel is a combination of real-life usage of tech talents, but also identifying these talents in Bahrain and also upskilling these talents. So, joining me on panel is Yanal Jallad, Managing Director of Reboot Coding Institute, as well as Bruno Martins, who is the Associate Partner, IT Advisory Technology Consulting at KPMG, Mohamed Mahroos, Senior Partner at PwC, and Latifa Mohamed, General Manager at Hope Talent. So we're going to start the panel by first starting with Hope Talent. I'll ask Latifa, can you just please tell us more about Hope Talent? We understand that it's a talent arm of Hope Fund. How does Hope Talent enhances the development of the national workforce and facilitates their growth and transformation journey?
Thank you so much, Dalal. Thank you, everyone. Now, to begin with, when it comes to Hope Talents, the answer is usually a multifaceted response because Hope Talents was established on the main mandate that Bahrain is known to being a talent hub of the region. Bahrain is known to being having the dedicated, disciplined, and amazing skill sets when it comes to our greatest assets, our people, our human capital. So, from that perspective, the mandate of Hope Talents, which is a national initiative, it was established. So our main mandate is to identify high potential individuals available in Bahrain, creating that talent ecosystem. And when we say ecosystem, we're focusing on firstly creating that interconnected network of individuals, interconnected network that includes organizations as well as different institutions. Once we identify those individuals, we create that consolidated database of talents, and then we start investing in those talents. When we say investing, we mean we try to find, again, we have a unique perspective in Hope Talents. We have the perspective from the employers, the organizations in Bahrain, identifying their requirements, but we also have over 25,000, a database of over 25,000 individuals. So we see firsthand the skill gaps that's available in the market. So from that perspective, we developed several upskilling initiatives. Those upskilling initiatives are focused on the current needs of the market, whether it was tech, whether it was in any other related field, through partnering with industry leaders, through having role models for younger generations and mentors, and at the same time partnering with different institutions to make sure that we fill that gap. So in answer to your question, Dalal, our main focus is first, yes, to identify those high potential individuals. Second, provide them with those pathways and opportunities, whether it was job opportunities or training opportunities or attendance to different events, workshops to, let's say, develop themselves and then recognize those talents and make sure that they're rewarded down the line.
And do you think tech talent is something that we're seeing more so or needed more in the region? Or what other talents do you think, from your experience dealing with applicants and the need of the market, what kind of talents will be needed?
Definitely tech talent is in the increase. But when we look at it from a bigger perspective, when we say tech, technology is into everything today. So even if we're looking at it from a marketing perspective, financial perspective, or any other role, technology is needed. Basic skills of data analytics, basic skills of anything related to dealing with softwares is also required. So yes, technology is growing. And if we're going to compare it to 5 years ago, it has been exponentially increasing in the market and in terms of needs.
So on that point, if I can move to Yanal, obviously with Reboot, it's all about upskilling the tech talent, and we're seeing the emergence and need and change when it comes to financial services and the need of upskilling talent in Bahrain. Can you tell us more about Reboot Coding Institute? Why is this program so unique in preparing the next generation in Bahrain and the region?
Right. Thank you very much. So Reboot Coding Institute is an uh, on-campus training institute with 250 computers, 1,600 square meters. We build any individual from any background, from any educational background, any age above the age 18, into becoming a full stack developer. What is that? That is front end, back end, and data, the full spectrum of programming. It's a 2-year program. It takes about 18 months to become full stack. And then the student chooses a specialization branch. There are 7 different branches of specialization: cloud DevOps, blockchain and cryptocurrency, mobile web development, cybersecurity, UI UX, game development, and the student then spends additional 6 months focusing in that one area. There's nothing like it really in Bahrain, because the way of learning is completely different. It is learn by doing. It's 100% project based. We don't have lectures. We don't have a teacher. The students have to learn to collaborate, work in teams, and figure things out. And this process creates a problem solver, creates someone who's used to working in teams, defending the work, presenting the work. It creates someone who's comfortable talking to others and with the skills of the hardcore skills of a full stack developer. And that is someone who we believe should be a very interesting, very good asset to any company in Bahrain. In order to get into the program is unique. We have what's called a selection pool. The selection pool is a 3-week-long selection process. The student has to, or I should say the candidate has to work with others. We never tell them how to do it. We have people who have 0 coding skills and they enter the selection pool. We have people with coding skills, they enter the selection pool. Of course, at the end, their levels are different, but what we look for is perseverance. What we look for is a willingness to learn. Did this person willing to ask questions, ask for help, willingness to receive help? And these are very important communication and social skills, soft skills that are important in the industry and that companies want. We've had to turn away, unfortunately, individuals because they didn't pass the selection pool. Very good talent in terms of coding, but were not willing to show us progress in terms of working as a team, working with others, helping others, and so on. And we explain, companies don't want to employ the genius in the corner.
Yeah.
So we need to see that your willingness to change and to move in this direction. And it's been very good. We started in January with the announcement of the agreement with Bahrain Economic Development Board, which has been a supporter from day one, and Tamkeen Labour Fund, of course, which we are in partnership with, that covers the tuition for the full 2 years for every Bahraini. And today in the summer, we have the first cohort, which has 230 students. So it's a good first step. 230 students today in the first cohort. Of course, we're not traditional university. We'll take rolling transfer. So next month we'll start recruiting for cohort 2, which will begin in January. And the purpose is to have 200-300 developers at this level, full stack level, coming onto the market year on year, so that when the EDB goes to Singapore and New York and others and wants to attract fintechs and FDI, we can talk about a strong ecosystem of developers in the country, and so on. So that's who we are in a nutshell. The selection pool process is very different, and our learning process is very different. I'll give a little kind of anecdote. One candidate in the selection pool was we have what's called checkpoints. Checkpoints are, lack of a better word, an exam. It's a 4-hour exam. You can't. There's 7 questions, but you can't move from question 1 to 2 unless you've done question 1. So you don't see any of the other questions. So this person was stuck on question 1 for 3 hours plus. It's a 4-hour exam. Time's running out. Pressure's on. Stuck on question 1. He can't move on until he's done it. This person finally, sometime 3 hours something, figured it out, did it, and then he completed all 7 in the remaining time. He was very happy. He was so proud of himself. He got 100%. We didn't really care. We were happy because he showed the perseverance, willingness to not give up. And we look for that. We look to see in the selection pool, is this person going to give up? Is he willing to persevere?
Yeah.
When they give up, are they willing to, we try to fail them actually, to experience failure, so that failure is not a fear. And that's, in a nutshell, a little bit maybe too long.
No, thank you for that.
How we're very different.
No, that's very interesting, to be honest, and it's great to see that you're generating that talent year on year in the market. If I can move to Mohamed from PwC, obviously you see things from a different perspective. You deal with clients on a daily basis, and your main customers vary. Can you tell us a little bit more on how human-led tech-enabled workforce deliver better outcomes for your clients?
Absolutely. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'd like to thank the EDB for organizing such an amazing event. And thank you, Dalal, for inviting me to this panel. I think it's a topic that I'm really interested in. In terms of your question, we obviously in PwC we invest heavily in technology tools to ensure that we provide the best quality services to our clients. But these tools are meaningless if we don't upskill our people in their usage. I've been in the firm for 12 years, so not that long ago. And I can tell you, when I first joined PwC, how we were conducting our work in terms of obtaining information, data from clients in PDF format, paper format, churning that data, collecting important notes, analyzing it until you get to a stage where you produce a report. Extensive, time-consuming, and not ideal at all. And as over the past 12 years, I've seen the transformation of how we deliver our work changing end to end. And I'm talking about from onboarding a client on our system up to the stage where we deliver our deliverables. If I can give you a few examples, we have built in-house tools in PwC that can prepare a proposal based on just by writing certain information about a client in their industry, spending a fraction of the time of what we used to spend back in the day. Our colleagues, for example, from the audit or assurance line of service, use systems that enable them to pick up anomalies in journal entries. Our tax colleagues use systems by a click of a button generate tax returns. And that all basically saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of costs, and it allows us as a leadership team to reinvest this time in getting closer to our clients, identifying additional challenges that our clients face, and then obviously creating additional opportunities. So I think this is how a human-led, tech-enabled workforce can enhance an institution.
And just carrying on that conversation, going to Bruno looking at from other perspective on the challenges. Obviously, you do deal with a lot of companies that want to digitize and want to transform. What do you think would be the main challenge when dealing with those clients?
So first of all, thank you and good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. So since the pandemic really increased the pace of digital transformation, which left many organizations struggling. Also, you have the customers, the employees used to solutions from Google, from Facebook, from Apple, and so they are really expecting innovation at speed. They're great user experiences. On the other side, you have the IT organizations struggling with limited budgets and also staffing their own projects. And so I would argue that staffing and also, the tech skills gap that exists are probably the most pressing issues that companies face. And so many of them are turning to emerging technologies like low code to basically help them fulfill their ambitions. So KPMG released this year a comprehensive study of more than 700 leading organizations across Europe, Middle East, and Africa, which found that 64% of them already see low code as a key enabler for their digital strategies. And so this is a very important topic. KPMG has been investing in low code for a long time. And one great example of this is that just this week we've announced in partnership with Tamkin building a low code center of excellence here in Bahrain that aims to serve not only the Bahraini market, which is actually a quite advanced market in this low code space with platforms like OutSystems, but also more broadly the GCC and beyond.
And you just mentioned, following on that conversation, so you've mentioned KPMG Low Code Center of Excellence. Can you just elaborate a little bit more? What does this Low Code Center of Excellence will offer for our audience to better understand in terms of what exactly is low code and what's the difference between low code and general coding?
Okay, so the software development industry is a very labor intensive industry. And low code is about bringing automation to this industry. You can make a parallel to the early days of the auto industry in which you would take days to weeks to assemble a car. And right now you have one single Tesla factory outputting a car every single minute. And so low code empowers the professional developers to be much more effective, to be much more efficient and productive, to work much closer to the business, and also closes a bit the skill stack gap because in a traditional project, you would have to have a wide array of skills from being able to develop for the mobile, iOS, Android, web, workflows, data, AI, and all those sorts of things. And basically, low-code platforms bring you the capability of a single skill set, enables you to tackle many of those use cases. And so also gives the rise of a new kind of developer, which we call the citizen developer, which is those, non-technical people from the business that can build these apps to tackle their own challenges, their own particular challenges. These are usually small apps, but with a great impact. We have clients, building hundreds of them that would never qualify for an IT backlog. So IT doesn't really cater for these kind of things. But again, low code doesn't mean low skill. And so we are very focused, and take the example of the Bahrain COE. We are very focused in hiring fresh grads out of university. We are not just looking for the traditional, IT software engineer, which has a secondary effect, which is very interesting. We've already seen it happening in Europe, which is, usually software development is a male dominated area.
Correct.
But with these low-code technologies, since they make it much more democratic, we are now having a much more balanced teams, much more diverse teams doing software development using low-code, which is great. And so when we look at the Bahrain COE, for us KPMG, we see a huge opportunity, a huge value, because we have top talent that we can attract and is available. We have Arabic speakers that live in close proximity to the GCC, and so this is a great value.
I see Mohamed nodding, so maybe I can just jump on that and then talk to you a little bit on the recent announcement as well that PwC had when it comes to creating a services hub in Bahrain. What was the reason, the push for such expansion and growth?
I think it's a clear signal. Um, you know, two of the largest professional services firms choosing Bahrain as a destination to establish a hub. If I'm going to address your question directly, obviously, in light and in support of His Royal Highness's vision to promote jobs in Bahrain, and not only the any types of jobs, but the appropriate jobs for citizens. We at PwC decided to support that vision. There are multiple reasons why that what basically driving the establishment of a hub. The first thing is the firm is growing at an exponential rate, double digit growth the past several years. We just closed FY23 with $1.6 billion, so unmatched in the region. Our business is obviously booming. The landscape in the GCC, regulatory landscape, compliance landscape, tax and legal is all changing as well, which opens up a lot of opportunities for us as professional service firms. And then you start focusing on where should I establish the hub. The need is established.
Yeah.
Where can I establish the hub? And we went through a thorough benchmarking exercise. I'm not going to repeat what my colleague said in terms of the talent pool, because that is obvious, established. The Bahraini talent pool stands out. We have a population of 90% bilingual speakers, Arabic and English, highly educated, a lot of them from international universities and Ivy League schools. Costs are relatively on the low side as well. And then you have multiple other factors. And I have to highlight something here. You have organizations like Tamkeen, which is exceptional. They support you through and through on manpower costs. They support you on infrastructure costs. They
Training.
support, sorry,
Training.
as well. And they've been extremely helpful. You have organizations such as the EDB, and I'm not saying this because of they're hosting the event and I'm talking here, I'm being honest. We've been working closely the past few months, and their executive director or their leadership team is available to support international organizations, not only to attract FDI, but even those expanding their presence in Bahrain. Whether it's licensing requirements, whether it's identifying the right location, whether it's support on getting the right manpower. I think this eases the process for companies like PwC to choose Bahrain as the destination of choice and establish a hub here.
Thank you so much for that. And
Can I just
yeah,
add?
of course.
So we're talking, we've got talking about Reboot, like coding institutes,
Yes.
high code, and there's low code, couple, and these are quite complementary. I mean, for example, Reboot, we have hiring partners, we have corporate partners. One of them is one of the large banks, and part of the partnership is that they give us bespoke projects, and that's now already started, and we're actually delivering a whole piece, a project from beginning to end that they'll start using from day one in November, I think, or mid-November, and it's all based on low code. So it's to give our students exposure to the market needs. It's actually KPMG OutSystems system for one of the banks. We signed with Mr. Janahi last month. We announced with Benefit as one of our partners, and they have a whole internship program and projects to give projects to our students as well, to give them exposure to industry relevant requirements. And they've also given access to generously to our students for the test environment and APIs of benefit as well. So these are all very, very complementary programs that are coming online.
Very interesting. And I think just going back, I mean, that's a good transition to a point that I want to mention to Latifa. In terms of recognizing high achieving talents, I mean, this is all, it requires some talent, and it requires identifying the right talent, but upskilling the talent. From Hope Talent's perspective, how do you identify, a high achieving talent? What differentiates them from a normal talent? Like, can you just walk us through how do you identify these individuals?
Sure. So, just to add on that, of course, one of the main key factors as to the reason why Bahrain is becoming the talent hub is the availability of the talents, yes, but it's also the opportunities that are present for talents. From that perspective, when it comes to us identifying high achieving talents, skill sets, university degrees is very important, but then again, there are things that are, let's say, in addition to that, they're required to have certain other attributes that would support them in their career development. So we have industry leaders over here. So when it's a small self-reflection exercise looking at who is excelling in your organization or who in your team is a member that you're able to depend on. And usually that person is not the person with the highest skill sets, but the most dedicated, the most disciplined, the person who never drops the ball. You can depend on them and rely on them to come to you with a solution rather than a problem. So, building on that, we developed a methodology, and that methodology builds on number one, identifying the talents, first of all, through universities, through them approaching us. Our doors are always open to learn more about talents, but then again, we take them through a process. That process requires someone who's dedicated to complete. So there are several stop points, a behavioral interview, a technical interview. And the reason for that is to get to know them on a personal level, but then again, to measure their technical skill sets while they're sitting with a technical or a mentor or a leader in the industry to ask them the right questions. In addition to that, we do have language tests. We do have, at the same time, a situational judgment assessment that they have to go through. That, in addition to what Yanal said when it comes to their assessment, we do something very similar. That, again, it's a time test, measures their perseverance, their discipline to complete the assessment. Once they pass that process, then only they're officially onboarded into our database. So we're looking at it from a triangular point of view. So it's a triangulation of evidence, if we may say. One is skill sets. Yes, that's important. But second is the personality, their communication style, their respect for time of themselves and others. Third is the behavior, their discipline in completing the case study on time, the quality of the work that they represent. So those are the three main pillars that we depend on in order to identify anyone who we consider as high achieving.
And maybe a question for all the panelists, and feel free, whoever wants to answer it. We see trends when it comes to talent. I mean, obviously, a low-code center of excellence was established, and services hub has been established. Reboot was established to upskill the talent. How does anyone remain valid in the workforce? Like, what do you think, is needed to ensure that the workforce is, have the right skills to be able to satisfy the needs of companies and globally? Yeah.
Let me take you on that, and also take the opportunity to share a story that actually happened this week. So we were presenting, and when you talk about being relevant in tomorrow world, we actually don't know what the jobs will be in the next decade or so. And so we were presenting an AI system that could do a lot of people to a client that could do a lot of things that humans were doing up until now. And actually, people from my team, younger people from my team approached me afterwards and said, "Oh, we heard about AI, but this is actually the first time we see it in action and see the impact that it may have in our jobs in the future." So how do we remain relevant to the future? And there is no clear answer to that, but we can say that we don't know what the jobs will be, but constant upskilling, constantly learning, constantly keeping up to date, because you don't know what tomorrow will be, is of paramount importance. We don't know if it's low code or any other technology that will appear in a couple of years, But we know that if people are proactive, are interested in their self-development and have the right mentorship, and this is a very key aspect that we have in KPMG, is mentoring people and coaching people throughout their careers, I think people will stay relevant throughout.
I just I'll take a. I mean, our opinion on it. Obviously, AI is very topical, and everyone's talking about it. And people say, well, will we need coders in the future, right? So, our take actually is that there's going to be an explosion of coders with the AI, and you're going to need developers, obviously, to develop the AI, and you're going to be an explosion of coders in many fields that using AI. Education and AI is very topical, and everyone's talking, what do we do? What do we do? Some universities have banned it. Our approach would be that's actually probably the opposite you should do, because if we're preparing people for the workforce, you need to be able to use AI because you become more efficient. And why should you spend hours and hours doing something? We can do it quicker. So we don't discourage individuals to not use AI, and we actually encourage it. And because our learning space is collective intelligence, it's peer-to-peer learning, it's co-creativity. This is what we feel is actually kind of the future of working with AI, using AI as a co-creativity for innovation in the future will hopefully spur innovation in the future. And we feel that that's probably what's best down the road in the future, and we're using it actually today. There are so many different AI, we should say AIs actually, it's plural, and it's become very important. Definitely jobs will change, 100%, and the job of a coder is going to change as well. Today, before AI, let's say 1 year ago, one developer could do the job of 20 years ago, pretty much 15 to 20 years ago, one developer. So the efficiencies already became so much quicker and better over the course, and we didn't see less developers. We see an insatiable demand for developers. AI will also bring other people from different backgrounds, other creative backgrounds, into tech companies, because they won't need some of the heavy tech abilities that are, should we say, stereotypical developer is viewed as. So there's, I think, more jobs that AI will create. Of course, it will also destroy jobs, and there needs to be an address of how to retrain and how to look into that. But then some of those jobs humans shouldn't be doing anyway.
Yeah.
So it's the humanity and the co-creativity that actually adds on to the AI, and that could spur the next generation of innovation.
So I think there's a common theme here that upskilling talent is always important, which we're quite happy to have institutes such as Hope Talent, Tamkeen, Reboot, and others in Bahrain, but also having employers such as PwC and KPMG identifying these talents and investing in them to ensure that their skill sets are valid for the future. With that, I thank you all for joining us today, and I thank the panelists as well for a great discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,